like you said, it come like breathing. It's something that you expect to do all the time. I mean, I grew up with 5 brothers, 1 sister, and it's kind of like that's what we do. We always gave back, and if I know I grew up in a family that was unfortunate, so anytime I have a chance to give back to anybody that's not fortunate, give back to anybody that I can talk to or just be around. I mean, I want to make their day. I want to make somebody's day every day, and that's my goal every day. Every time I wake up, I want to make somebody else's day and see a smile on somebody else's face, because I love getting up every day in the morning and just smiling and having fun and enjoying life, because, like you said, time is precious. So every time I get a chance to spend time with somebody, I want to make sure they're having fun and enjoying life. And so that's why I do it. What about you?
So now we'll change gears and talk about, so all 3 of you played football here, and I would think it is fair to say that pretty much no one else in this room played football here. So, all right, we got a couple people who play football, but for the vast majority of us, we have not gotten to play football here. So I was hoping each of you could talk about a favorite memory here as a player and really try to help those of us in the room understand what that was like as a player at Michigan. So a memory that stands out for you from playing football here.
Since it's fresh in my mind.
It's fresh in your mind, like you're young. But as you get older, you have to sort of work on it. You're like, okay, there's a memory back there somewhere.
I mean, it would have to be an under the lights game, and And the reason I say that because we was down, we was getting beat pretty bad, and nobody in the locker room, other coaches thought that we was gonna lose that game, because we always was determined, we always wanted to fight back, and it was a special night because Desmond Howard was getting honored, and it was so much tradition. I mean, Desmond Howard came in right before the game and spoke to us, him and Charles Woodson, and it was like, man, we can't let these dudes down, and we felt like we couldn't let those dudes down, and we was in the locker room, and we were just like, there's no way we let these guys win tonight. And that was our first night game. So, I mean, that was one of the moments that stuck out, and that's always going to stick out in my head.
I don't know about you, Dhani, but I was very jealous that night. Those guys played the first game ever.
Under the lights.
Under the lights. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is like a grand opportunity. I was so jealous. I mean, I was happy for you guys. I'm like, man, I would give to play a game under the lights in the big house. No, yeah, definitely. Wow. We've had blessed careers here, and I played 2 years under Bo Schembechler. I think that just my time with Coach Schembechler, just learning how to become a Michigan man, the things that really stick out in my mind is more or less about doing things the right way. He had a coach he was a no-nonsense coach, zero tolerance.
Can you help people understand what that meant?
Well, I'm assuming I have a pretty intelligent crowd here, but listen, he's the type of coach that a bunch of the nonsense that you see going on in college athletics today, he wouldn't deal with it. I mean, you would just be gone. You'd be dismissed. So when you hear a player suspended for a game or 2 games for violation of team rules, yeah, you would just hear the kid has been sent home because of violation of team rules. And it's just because we're going to do it the right way. And he was a no-nonsense coach, and he was a guy who, he let you know that anything that you get here, you're going to earn it. You're not going to be given anything. You're not going to be handed anything. There's no such thing as entitlement. You're going to come here, you're going to earn it, and you're going to pay attention to detail. You're going to do it the right way. And, I carry those lessons with me today. So I think that under Coach Schembechler, then Coach Moeller, he carried on the same tradition because he came from that tree, and so did Coach Carr. So they all came from that same tree. And I think that was probably the most valuable lesson that I learned, with being with Coach Schembechler and just learning to do things the right way and becoming a Michigan man.
Can you give people a Bo story? I know people always enjoy a Bo Schembechler story.
Gee whiz, wow. You know how you told Denard, because the further you get away, then you gotta go back into the reservoirs of your memory to try to pull something out. Then we got kids here too. And Bo,
I said I'd censor it.
Bo used colorful language. You know?
I can censor it.
Yeah, you can censor it.
I was ready.
Hey, get that button ready now, I'm just saying. Yo. I think that, Coach Schembechler, one of Coach Schembechler's stories. Wow.
Man, you are old.
Yeah. Yeah, they figured that out when I told them I played for Bo. They figured that one out. Man, I had to come back to me on that one.
Exactly. We'll let Dhani take it.
Dhani.
So, of course, one of my fondest memories of playing, I'll give you two memory of playing, and since you brought up Bo, I'll of course talk about Coach Carr. But my fondest memory of playing was the national championship. And specifically at the very end of the game, when there's defense on the field and we were up, and it's just the most stressful environment ever. You have the entire world watching you, and I'm playing, middle linebacker, and the clock is just winding down and just can't go fast enough. But at the same time, that feeling of elation when that clock ran out, and all of a sudden we were national championship. I think that's something that you'll never forget. And there was countless games in between, but when it's sort of the national stage, and you're really out there in front of everybody, those are things you don't forget. I mean, you don't forget those days. You don't forget the days when you first play your first game against Ohio State, and you really, as a freshman, know what it's all about. Even the week leading up to it, and all of a sudden the seniors just get a little bit more angry, and you're just kind of like this punching bag or this tackling dummy, and you really start to understand the rivalry and the tradition, and really the pride and the passion that everybody here plays with. Because when we're out on the field, I think Denard and Desmond I can speak for them in saying that we feed off the energy that the fans and the students and the alumni and the former players have when they're in the stands and they're looking down on us. I mean, at the same time, Denard spoke of when Desmond came in and spoke, and he said we can't lose. We can't go out there and lose because we can't let them down. I think that's the mentality of every player when they step on the field. One of my fondest memories of Coach Carr was the first day I got into my meeting room, and under that no-nonsense policy, is anybody a Montessori kid? Okay, so what do Montessori kids do? We ask a lot of questions. And there's something about the meeting room that we're not supposed to do, and that's ask a lot of questions. And as a Montessori student, we're taught to ask questions, and even if we're not supposed to ask questions, we're going to ask them anyways, because there's an answer that we need. And so I proceeded to ask a question and proceeded to get looked at by every single person in that meeting room, including the head coach, which Lloyd Carr was sitting right in front of me as he kind of looked back over his shoulder at me as he crossed his legs and looked over at me. And the captains were in the front, and everybody else, John Jansen, Zach Adamy, and Glenn Steele, and all these big gentlemen were sitting in the front row looking at me. And mind you, I came out of high school and I was 195 pounds playing linebacker. So I must have had heart because I definitely didn't have the weight or the strength. So when I proceeded to ask a question and the captains proceeded not to let me ask a question, I proceeded to ask the question anyways. After the meeting was over, Coach Carr called me in his office and he said, "Hey, son, if you're gonna go to the University of Michigan, you're gonna abide by the rules of school, son." So, that was a big day for me because I had to really make a decision whether I wanted to understand and respect the values that the great University of Michigan has set forth, or whether I wanted to sort of live my life, whether it was above to the side, that doesn't matter. It's just respecting and understand what it means to truly be a Michigan man. So I was quiet for 2 years. And then, my junior year and senior year, I regressed or progressed to be my Montessori man again. So, but that was one of my best experiences with Coach Carr, and my best experiences during the game.
So now I'm hoping each of you can tell us about a favorite memory of your time here as a student.
I can go. So besides being a Montessori student, I was also a residential college student. That's what I'm talking about. We're loud and proud and over to the side and in the corner, geeks and freaks. And we're proud about it. So I don't remember exactly which year this was, but I was reminded by this gentleman. Your name is again?
Jeremy.
Jeremy reminded me. But when I was in East Quad, so it had to be my sophomore year, because my freshman year I definitely wouldn't have done it yet, but probably would have. But my sophomore year, everybody who's school here, what do you do the first snow of the year? What happens? Snowball fight between South and West Quad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Where did you stay? You stayed in the East Quad?
I stayed in East Quad.
How did you do that?
Exactly. Yeah. So, supposed to be. Montessori kids aren't supposed to be anything. So, needless to say, I was in residential college, lived in East Quad, and it was the first snow, and it had to be my sophomore year, and I was just kind of upset. I was like, you know what? Forget about South Quad and West Quad. It's all about East Quad. So I went all around all the halls in East Quad, and I gathered up as many geeks and freaks as possible, because those are my people. And we marched from East Quad through the Law Quad. I think we're about 20 strong. And we marched. Well, I tell you what, we went in a straight line right through that Law Quad, and we showed up right there on State Street. I had to give them a little pep talk. I was like, they may call us geeks and freaks, but we can throw a snowball better than anybody else. So we saw the students on the left and the right side, South and West Quad respectively, and we walked down the middle of the street. I don't remember the name. What's the name of the street? What is it?
Madison.
Madison? Thank you. There's Madison Street. We walked down Madison Street, and we had 2 snowballs. We didn't have that much time. So we turned towards West Quad, we threw a snowball. I think everybody was really surprised. They're like, who are these kids? Where have they been? And then we turned and threw a snowball to South Quad. And then we just kind of paused as we just got crushed. So that was probably one of the best experiences ever. And I was just recently told, as I said before, that this lives online somewhere, the myth, if this snowball fight was actually arranged by yours truly. And it was. You throw a snowball story.
He probably got a better one anyway. No, because Denard's from Florida, so he didn't even know what snow was. What the hell is this? Exactly.
That's why I enjoyed the snowball fight so much.
Exactly.
I didn't have snow growing up, and it was my first time being a part of a big snowball fight. And I'm happy, I'm ready to go out there, and I get hit by a baseball player with the snowball. and it was bad. It hurt pretty bad. And so me being a football player, I played quarterback, but I ran to tackle him because it hurt so bad, so I had to go tackle him. But I'm gonna use another story. I think my best, just being a regular student, is just being a part of the Maze Rage and going down to Atlanta and just being a part of the crowd and having fun with those guys. I think that was one of the better times of me being here as a student. So.
And I have to say, Denard, my claim to fame is that on AnnArbor.com, there's a picture of you, and you're very much in focus. And they're like, he's in Atlanta at the basketball game, and in the corner there's me, totally out of focus. And I'm very proud of that photo.
Oh man. I have 2. I used to go to the law quad and listen to different speakers. I really enjoyed that. I loved that. I missed that. I would go to the law quad and listen to all sorts of speakers from all walks of life. And I tell people, I said, you know, the opportunities are there for you. I mean, if you want to learn, if you want to hear things, you know, it's a universal experience. It's, you know, you don't need to be pigeonholed into this particular classification or that particular, you know, you can get the full experience.